Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a World War I battle that was so incredibly fast, so decisive, and so devastatingly effective, it literally wrote the playbook for the wars of the future. This is the story of the Battle of Megiddo, a fight that didn't just win a campaign, it absolutely shattered an empire.
And that quote from historian Edward Erickson, wow, it just perfectly sets the stage. This wasn't just some other victory to chalk up on the board. No, this was a complete shock to the system. It was a blow that the Ottoman Empire simply could not recover from. It was the beginning of the end.
And that's really the big question we're going to dig into. How on earth did this happen? Because this wasn't just a setback for the Ottoman forces in Palestine. We're talking about the near total annihilation of their 7th, 8th, and 4th armies. So how in the world did the Allies pull this off?
To really get our heads around how the Allies managed such an incredible victory, we first have to look at the sheer scale of the Ottoman defeat. And honestly, the numbers here are just staggering.
Yeah, that number right there. It tells a brutal story. Out of 3 whole armies, we're talking tens of thousands of soldiers, only about 6,000 guys managed to escape. The rest, they were either killed, wounded, or captured. It was a level of destruction that was practically unheard of, even in a war as brutal as World War I. So what made this all so shocking? Well, when you look at it on paper, the Ottoman defenses looked tough, really tough.
For most of 1918, you see, the front line in Palestine was pretty much stuck. You had the British-led Egyptian Expeditionary Force, or EEF, and the Ottoman Yildirim Army Group dug into trenches that snaked all the way from the Mediterranean coast out to the Jordan Valley. It looked for all the world like a carbon copy of the Western Front, just a total stalemate.
Now, you can see here, the Allies did have a pretty big advantage in manpower, almost 2 to 1. But the Ottoman commander, a German general named Lehmann von Sanders, was a master of defense. He knew he was outnumbered, so he was banking on his strong, fortified positions to hold the line and bleed the Allies dry. The British commander, General Edmund Allenby, he knew a direct, head-on attack would just be a meat grinder, a total bloodbath. So instead of trying to smash through the Ottoman wall, he came up with this brilliant, elaborate trap designed to make the entire defensive line, well, completely irrelevant.
And this was a work of art, a total masterpiece of misdirection. Allenby needed the Ottomans to think the main attack was coming from the east, in the Jordan Valley. So he had his forces march east during the day for everyone to see, then secretly trucked them all the way back west to the coast at night. They built dummy camps, dragged things behind vehicles to kick up fake dust clouds. They even had T.E. Lawrence's Arab forces buying up tons of supplies in the east. The whole show was designed to make the Ottomans look the wrong way.
And here's the plan, broken down into 4 simple, beautiful steps. First, you deceive the enemy. Get them looking over there. Second, you secretly concentrate your real force over here where they aren't looking. Third, you punch a hole with a very short, very violent artillery barrage and a massive infantry assault. And fourth, this is the masterstroke, you pour the cavalry through that hole to get behind the enemy and completely surround them. It was a plan built on speed and surprise, and it was the total opposite of the grinding warfare that had defined the war up to that point.
So, how did the plan actually go? Well, it unfolded with a precision that is just mind-boggling. This wasn't a battle of inches. This was lightning warfare, decades before the world would even hear the term blitzkrieg.
The speed was just breathtaking. The whole thing kicks off at 4:30 in the morning. Within just a few hours, the Ottoman line is completely shattered, and the cavalry is already riding deep into their territory. By the very next day, they had captured all the key communication centers, totally cutting off any chance of an organized retreat. The trap had snapped shut.
But there was one more piece to this puzzle, something that made this victory so uniquely devastating: air power. You see, as the Ottoman 7th Army was desperately trying to escape through a narrow gorge, Allenby didn't just send horses after them. No, he unleashed the brand new Royal Air Force. T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, he saw what happened, and he summed it up perfectly. For 1 solid hour, British and Australian pilots just relentlessly bombed and strafed the trapped column. Imagine it, cars, wagons, guns, thousands of men, all jammed into this narrow road. There was absolutely nowhere to run. That single air attack didn't just stop a retreat, it completely annihilated an entire army corps from the sky.
So, the battle itself was over in just 48 hours. But the shockwaves, oh, they were just getting started. They were about to ripple across the entire Middle East and bring a whole empire crashing down.
After that initial breakthrough, it wasn't really a battle anymore.
it was a rout. And in the campaign that followed, the number of Ottoman prisoners just ballooned to this staggering number, 75,000. This was a complete and utter collapse of Ottoman military power in the entire region.
The dominoes just fell, one after another, so fast. With no armies left to defend Syria, Damascus fell on October 1st. Then Aleppo a few weeks later. And then, just over a month after the first shots were fired at Megiddo, on October 31st, the Ottoman Empire signed the armistice. They were out of the war. The road from Megiddo led directly to the end of the war in the Middle East.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Megiddo was so much more than just another victory. That incredible combination of deception, of concentrating your force in secret, a lightning-fast breakthrough, and then a deep encirclement by mobile forces, it was a stunning preview of the blitzkrieg tactics that would define the next World War. And it leaves us with this final thought. Was this the moment that the slow, grinding trench warfare of World War I died, and the high-speed, combined arms warfare of the 20th century was truly born?